want to explain to you guys the Christian Illuminati. We got the triangle here. On the lowest level, you have, all right, influencers. Then on this next level, you have the Christian broadcasting networks, all right? Then on that next level, you have the artists, like that Christian music industry, the entertainment world. The next level, you've got the mega pastors, who of course are all different levels. And then of course, you just got the Hollywood demonic music industry. And so essentially this is how it goes. All right, so boom. You got all these different groups, they're connected, right? Within their group, most of these people know each other, right? So everybody's got their group and they interlap at some point, all right? Check this out. Everybody wants to go up, right? Everybody's trying to go up in influence, up in followers, up in numbers, up in finances. Everybody's trying to grow their brand, grow their business, all right? So check this out. In order to go up, you have to understand this guy's connected to this guy, right? So this guy's connected to all of these guys. So this guy's connected to all these guys. These guys are connected to all these guys. Everybody knows everybody, right? There's some kind of connection there. And everybody knows that, who people are connected with, right? So there's kind of a network. That's what you're looking at with these red lines, right? Even if that guy at the bottom doesn't know. If this guy wants to go up, he has to be careful of what he says about any of the people who are on that next level above him. Also keeping in mind that the people are connected to these other people. So don't say anything about those people or you're going to be stuck here at the bottom because doors will be closed. Isaiah 58, cry aloud, spare not, lift up that voice like a trumpet and show my people their transgression. So everybody can see that people are connected to this one, that one, that one, and there's more people that we could have added on there, right? And everybody sees the things that are going on in the church, and a lot of times people turn a blind eye, but that is the opposite of what the Bible says. Cry loud, spare not. The reason people do not cry loud is because they're politicking. I don't want to mess up the connections. If I want to move up this ladder and these people are in the positions of power and influence to make the phone call, hey, don't let this guy go forward. Don't connect with this guy because this guy said something about Kirk Franklin. This guy said something about Mike Todd, and they're all boys.
All right. So Marcus Rogers said there's a Christian Illuminati. What do you guys think?
Does it have to be the word Illuminati? Because I feel like no. I mean, I feel like this just would have been.
I had the same thought. If it was Gatekeepers,
then yeah. Or it could have also been just people that know each other. People that, because we're think about it, man. Like the gospel's kind of a small community. Mm-hmm. If you're a media influencer or you're an artist, you probably have run across each other. Like on that list, we've probably sat down and interviewed probably 11 people off that list, maybe more. So to me, it feels like we all are supposed to be on that list. I mean, we all are interconnected. We all have benefited off of having somebody off our show or you know what I'm saying, a conversation. I mean, just to me, it just feels like I didn't hear anything that was...
letter?
I didn't hear anything that was wrong.
And you ain't tell us?
You accepted
I mean, Marcus did start following me a couple of weeks ago, so I don't know. Could be on that list. But no, I don't know the difference between what was said here as far as was it highlighted that it was bad for all these people to know each other, or just not say anything about the person above you.
I think he was saying that he was saying that like the higher you go up, certain people you can't talk about because if you do, I've heard the same thing about like when gospel artists are signed to major labels, if they're signed to Universal, right? And my label mate is Jay-Z. I can't say nothing about Jay-Z because that's my label mate. You know what I'm saying? I've heard stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think what two things I said. One is being in this so long that that I remember when we first started, I felt like, and maybe y'all could talk about this because you've been in it too, Jen, like the Reform Calvinist kind of conversation. And then like, I think like the people who were like, I don't know which one was which, but the people who were like more the legacy type of crowd,
right?
It felt like back in the day, and I'll say this, back in the day, it felt like if you wasn't in that crowd, then you was kind of shut off from some opportunities in this space, honestly, just being real. Right. Now, I don't know if that's the same thing as he's talking about, because to me, sometimes it comes off as like, I'm trying to get up in here, and I'm trying to tell y'all about what's really going on, y'all not letting me in, so now I got to go this way. And I'm not saying that he's doing that on purpose, but at sometimes your frustration, I mean, we got a diss record, somebody dissed us when we was at Flavor Fest, thank you. But
we also got an exposed video.
so that's what I'm saying is like, dude, like sometimes when people feel frustrated in there, they want to get further in this. They want it more. They want the, like, why I can't be the top guy? Why I can't get in these spaces? Why I can't get on TBN? Why I can't? And I'm not saying this is Marcus, but sometimes it could sound or come off like that, where it's like, I'm in a position where I could be doing something for the kingdom, or I'm really about that Jesus life. These people ain't, even if they're not, you know what I'm saying? It's still something where it's like, how do you go about that? Because at the end of the day, we could talk bad about Lecrae because he was on that list, but Lecrae put in years of him grinding on just doing shows, doing stuff, doing tours. And I think sometimes we take people's hard work for like they sold out sometimes. Not saying they're not perfect people, but
you don't see what they're doing behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I got a couple of thoughts I have about this. One, it's one thing to like raise awareness and let people know about the like different stuff. That's what we do. We raise awareness and let you guys know like, hey, this the new age stuff going on, this and that. But it's another thing when I feel like you build your whole platform off of just criticizing other people. It's like you're on a witch hunt to find other people's flaws so you can highlight it and make yourself appear to be more righteous. Why is this even a thing? You know what I'm saying? Like, why is this even a thing? Why? What makes you sit at home in your room
James,
and say,
help us out being part 2.
What makes you sit at home in your room and say, you know what? It's a Christian Illuminati. And you sit at home and got a graph and you put people on this mug and start, you don't know their background, you know where they from, you don't know what they doing. And what it comes across as being an artist, I see it with a lot of people sometimes. You try your best to make your music and do things and be on a certain platform. And when they don't accept you or they don't like what you do or they're not feeling what you're doing, now you try to villainize everybody else. You try to find everybody's flaws and criticize them and talk about why they're not good and why they're not walking with the Lord for real and this and that. I even seen folks leave the faith because their Christian rap career didn't go where they thought it was going to go. And it's like, why is this even a thing? Like, why am I sitting back taking time to just destroy people? It's one thing to raise awareness, but I'm sitting back building my hope. I'm in my room sitting back, who can I talk about today? And just talk about how they just falling short from following God. Like, all of us are falling short in some area. Like, but all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. So like, let me hear a testimony video from Marcus Rogers. Let me hear about the stuff you struggle with. What are you going through in your spiritual? Because you don't know everything. Because we all only know in part. Yeah. We all got some areas we need to grow in. Let's see a Marcus Rogers video about, well, I'm struggling with so-and-so, man. I'm taking it to the Lord. I have accountability here. I got accountability partners here. I go to my church. I go to my pastor. I go to counselor for this. What are you dealing with? You know what I'm saying? Like, where's the transparency in that instead of trying to make everybody look like they're unholy?
That's how I found him. I found him doing devotions, and that's how I ended up following him on social media because it was like, man, this is a good word. So I was plugged in.
I think he's a pastor, ain't
he? Yeah.
But I think going back to what you're saying, I feel like it's not. Sometimes we have that same part about like even in the black community is like if we call people out on their stuff and if they're very guilty of this, then hopefully we can get them out the way and then we can get the right people in. And I think sometimes even that perspective could be like
prideful.
Yeah, it's not. Does God want? I mean, he does want the right people in the right spaces, but at the same time, it's like you can't discount something that somebody did for for 10 years because they don't know you, or that's business anyway. Like if you talk bad about a certain business, I'm sure 9 out of 10 times they're gonna be like,
it's a Hebrew word for it. It's a Hebrew word. It's called clout chasing. Like, so what you realize is when you put people's name on stuff, people gonna look and see like, okay. Yeah. And then when you start acting like you got some inside information that nobody else has, and you start talking like all spooky and all that kind of stuff, like, look at this Christian Illuminati, this.
You better be good, bro.
Man, I'm straight, bro. But I guarantee you, at some point or another, before this video a year ago, if they just say, hey, Marcus Rogers, would you come out to our church? We're having a revival. We'd love for you to share a word that night. Would they still be on this list?
You talking about on TBN?
Yeah. Like, would they still be on the list? Am I saying everything on TBN is right? Nah, nothing everywhere is all right.
Yeah.
Even your favorite pastor is something they got wrong. We all know in part. So it's things that I've taught before. And I say, you know what? After I went back and said, you know what? I had the incorrect understanding of that, and I had to say, "Hey, let me correct this and say this." Like it happens to everybody.
Yeah.
But I'm not on no witch hunt. Like even when we talk about Jamal Bryant, like for me, I'm not trying to tear that man down. I'm hoping that he sees the effect that it's having on people and say, you know what, let me in this position, let me tighten up and really. But like this man don't come across like he want to see these people change. It's almost like certain people only have a job when other people mess up. It's like Al Sharpton and like Jesse Jackson. Like they only show up when there's trouble going on.
Yeah.
When do you see Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson in the past? When you know what I'm saying? Like if it's no problem, if it's no crisis, if it's not a crisis or a problem, they don't have a job. It's some people who thrive off controversy. Let's hear some positive, uplifting stuff about the faith in the community.
Ambulance chasers.
I'm like, come on, bro.
So from what I've seen of him, just recent, I don't know a lot about him. I haven't seen a lot of his stuff, but recently, I do think he is trying to do what we do.
Yeah,
I think that's what he's trying to do. I think he has a lot less. He doesn't. He's not as sensitive about certain things, but I do think he's attempting to do it. And I think the only thing, like what Ryan said, is the Illuminati part of this. I think is just kind of sensationalized. Yeah. I think it is. I think what he's witnessing is just human nature, right?
Yeah.
So if we know somebody and we've been around them, they've sat here and we've talked to them, you're gonna be a little bit less likely to just call them out because you've been able to talk to them before.
Yeah.
You kind of know where they're coming from. You kind of get them. And there is a warning in here that I don't want to ignore, that there is a tendency to kind of ignore some of the things that people do that we are friends with.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's real. That's real.
So if we're going to be as bold to say something about this person, if we're friends with them, they shouldn't get a pass. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that is a real warning. So I don't want to ignore that part of it. But I think our general reaction to Marcus is because he's a little brash.
Yeah.
So I think that's what people are maybe turned off by. But I do think in his heart he's trying to. The reason why I feel this way is because when he was on the HI, whatever.
Hardly initiated.
Hardly initiated. And he was talking to the two gay pastors.
Yeah.
I was impressed with his patience. Like he sat there and he let them talk. He piped in sometimes, but he was patient with him. So to me, what that spoke to me was he wants to be doing this the right way, right? So if you disagree with his methods, I would just pray that God works out whatever it is that you don't like about what he's doing. I don't sense. I think there is some of that in all of us, where it's like there's an algorithm you're trying to hit and you're trying to keep your career going or whatever. But I'm hoping I'm not wrong that he has a genuine heart to please God, and I think what he rails against is hypocrisy that he sees in certain people. Why are we giving this person a pass just because you want his cosign, you want his such and such?
Well, you don't know these people.
But I think
that's the part is we know them. So if you put Ruslan on there, it's like we know Ruslan. You could talk to him.
We don't like.
Well, he has conversations with Ruslan before, and then kind of like didn't turn out. It just will end up with an agree to disagree.
Okay, but you can agree to disagree. There's people who agree to disagree with him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't now say he's Illuminati.
Yeah.
He's a devil.
But I think the thing is, because his theology is probably plays a part in all of this as well, because I feel like he believes in deliverance. He believes in casting out demons and that stuff, which I believe in as well. But he feels like prime example, using Jackie, the reason why him and Preston went back and forth is because he feels like Jackie need to get delivered. And Jackie is like
we're making excuses for things that I'm still seeing are wrong.
Yeah. Or not even seeing wrong, it's just seeing like what she says when Jackie goes, I still get tempted sometimes dealing with my former life. And he's like, nah, you shouldn't. You got saved. You should get delivered. You know what I'm saying?
That's just incorrect though. But
that's unrealistic.
That's where you come from. That's his point of view.
I would rather see us take this argument, this fight to the world and not each other. That's my biggest thing.
I mean, people would say that about us. Like we talk about like you said,
but what we're doing is we're talking about the correction of what people are seeing that's wrong.
But that's what I think that's what he's trying to do. We just don't like how he's doing it.
I would just say like I said, we've met most of the people on this list, or a lot of the people on this list, and I don't necessarily think that they're doing things wrong. They just have their own opinion about things or the way that they move. I don't think that they're devils. When I hear Illuminati, I hear
That's the
devil
problem.
worship.
But
I hear
Illuminati assumes that we're all getting together and we're plotting to
make sure people stay
put
right.
corruption in the world.
Yeah.
But
That's not happening.
I think for me, the only problem with that is some of these people on the list worked hard to get on in these situations. So you can't say, like, just because I'm trying to get in, y'all won't let me in. It's like, well, of course.
I don't think
Platforms come with criticism.
I think we're assuming that part. We're assuming that he's angry because they won't let him in. I think his point is, I'm the only one willing to say the truth because I don't want to be let in. I think that's what he's trying to say. That's what he's trying. You may not agree, but I think that's what he's
I'll
trying
say
to
this as a pastor and as a YouTuber, maybe. But as an artist, we know too many artists
I
that
don't know
look.
nothing about him as an
No,
artist.
I mean he raps. So I'm just saying, he does music. So I'm like, I'm saying like, I'm not saying. I mean, he's put out good stuff. I've heard some good stuff from him. But what I'm saying is, we've heard so many people complain when they get frustrated about my career ain't going. And I'm not saying this is him, but I'm
seen
just
the
saying
same signs in other people.
that's what I'm saying. I've seen signs of people where they go like, man, I'm frustrated. Trackstarz, Rapzilla, these people,
They must be unholy.
Yeah, or
If they don't see my value, they must be unholy.
Or they don't see my music is about Jesus, and these other people's music ain't about Jesus. So
Yeah, I wanted
there must be something wrong.
Yeah.
That's my thing. Like, what's your motivation? Because you don't know everybody who's involved with any of these organizations. You don't know these artists personally. You don't know their heart. Only God knows the heart of man. So for you to insinuate that these people are in some kind of faction where they have some kind of unfair advantage and they're doing wickedness behind the scenes, like, you don't know these people, like, it's pride. And when I look at his video, like I said, it's one thing to inform and make folks aware, but you got to be tactful in the way you do stuff, and also the way you present it. He makes it seem like he think he's John the Baptist or something, like he's out here the voice in the wilderness crying out, and nobody else is saved, and nobody else want to listen. But like you said, it's people on that list who love the Lord for real. It's people on that list who, they may have shortcomings in certain areas, but you can't discredit their whole relationship with God to say they're in some kind of Illuminati or some kind of faction because they don't agree to everything that you agree with.
Yeah.
A couple years ago, it came out with some of his theology, which I still think is kind of suspect. Some of his theology was out of whack. If somebody would have came out and said, "Oh man, you ain't saved, or you ain't this and that," you would have felt some kind of way. So I think, like, pray for these people. You know what I'm saying? I think when we correct people, we say certain things like, we don't just sit back and just tear these folks down. I ain't seen never one of y'all make a list and say, this person is on the Christian Illuminati. This person might not be a Christian.
I think the reason why is because we've been in it so long that we don't care. Like, we don't care. Like, no, I'm serious. I think honestly, and I give praises to Sean for this, because Sean the lead, he'd be like, y'all, don't worry about that stuff. Don't worry. Like, man,
Praise
you know
God
what I mean?
for him.
Years it took us. Like, I know you go around and you talk to people like, yo, Trackstarz. It's like, man, for some years we just been doing this because we've been faithful and committed to, like, our conversation and getting out to
That's
the world.
my point. That's
you
my
know
point.
what I'm saying?
So, say your platform is growing, right?
Yeah.
And people are listening, more people watching the show. 18 years.
Yeah.
He don't know that.
Yeah.
But he gonna put you on the list and say,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? He gonna put you on the list.
But that's what I'm saying. Even with a Lecrae situation or anybody on that list, Lecrae, I mean, I don't know him personally, but I know his story of him, like, grinding and then doing tours and shows for years to get to where you are. You know what I'm saying? And then also too, another thing too is these people gonna talk. So if it's just like a business, that's what I'm saying. It's just like a business if we're in business together and you come to me and say, Chris, Jeremiah, hey man, such and such. I'm like, yo, he good with business. Like, Chris, I don't know, man. I'm like, why? You know what I'm saying? Conversation behind the scenes.
It looks like Illuminati, but it's really just watching out for each other.
Yeah, and I think at the same time, it's like people have spoken bad about us. And it got back to us, but we thank God for Sean, because Sean be like, y'all, chill. We got to be the Christ-like people in this situation. You get what I'm saying? So I think it's just those things, man.
Have you seen this? Have you seen any of this in the industry?
Most definitely.
What have you witnessed? Do you think he's right?
Like Ryan said, I think the Illuminati part was just over-exaggerating. Because, like I said, when I hear Illuminati, I hear, like, you're trying to take people away from Christ.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think just most mistakes we all may make when it comes to walking our walk, we put high expectations on other Christians.
Yeah.
And we try to make it seem like, oh, they're not Christian, they're not doing this, or they're not doing that. But really, we all need Jesus. No matter we already Christians, we all need Jesus. And we never gonna get to a point where we don't need him no more.
Right.
So
Yeah, Melanie, the broker, said the way they talking about Marcus probably gonna bring him up on this next show. That was part of the calculation. We had to think about that. Like, man, do we? This topic is not in my mind about him. It's about what he said.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to respond to what he said, but of course everybody has seen Marcus before, so there's thoughts about him.
Polarizing.
So yeah, we was like, man, I don't want no problems with this dude, but like again, like
we don't-
if we're following what he said, we shouldn't care.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm just trying to.
And we don't know
what
his heart.
He
Like,
told me that.
we don't know his heart, but all we can do is judge a tree by its fruit, right? So we don't know his heart. He may very well want to see people come out of what's going on, and like he may very well want that. But it's the delivery, bro. It's the way you coming at it. It just lacks tact. And it's unprofessional. It's judgmental.
Yeah.
I just can't get with it. You know?
I think another question is like, from his perspective, how should Christians in business and entertainment move though? You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, you can't knock somebody from working hard and you just got in and you should automatically think, because we deal with a lot of artists like this, where it's like indie artists that be like, hey man, I'm popping, I'm doing my thing, why y'all don't put me on? And it's like, we could put you on, but at the same time, you still got to do the legwork. You still got to get out and do shows. You still got to do network with people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm not negating that with him.
Well,
I'm just saying
he's been doing it for a long time.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that for him. I'm saying for people who take stands at sometimes like him, where they're upset and they're disgruntled because their career ain't where they want it to be sometimes. Yeah. And I'm not saying this is his story. Yeah. I'm saying we've heard stuff like this before from artists that got that same
familiar. And sometimes it's not even that you feel like you're not at a certain level, because he obviously has a large fan base of people who follow him. So I don't even think it's necessarily wanting to be on a certain platform for the level.
As far as
It's almost like sometimes it could just be you don't feel like you're welcome to interact in certain circles where they might be having this over here or this over here and your name is never mentioned. And so what'll happen is you got to be careful. You'll start thinking, well, they don't want to invite me because I stand on holiness. I stand for this. And that little bit of pride will creep in. Yeah. You know, so they might just feel like, man, you just gossip about everybody. We don't want you around. You know what I'm saying? So you got to just be careful.
All right. Okay, so we'll see. pray for Marcus. I mean, he's welcome to come. He's been in our chat a few times, so he's welcome to come if he wants to hang out with us.